Welcome, everybody. All those returning and all those beginning, I suppose. I enjoyed that original video that I did showing off the partial copying. This is currently the fruits of my labor. It's not finished yet. There's still a lot of work to do, as you can see. All these parts and everything just strewn around. But that's the way I want it currently, whilst I'm working to build another vessel. As I said at the end on the little addendum on my last video of this, this is actually attached. The sensor node, I called it, or the antenna block. I figured out why it was not actually moving. I do see a slight flaw here that when we thrust down, when we go downwards with the thrusters and everything, when we move vertically downward, I got a bad feeling that the thrust might burn through the antenna here. But that's something I'll come towards once I figure out how this thing's even going to move, because I'm still working on how she's coming together. And to be honest with you, she's come together really nicely. And the one thing I'm loving is the undo button. The partial copy and paste, I'm loving that. You make it into a blueprint. Love that bit as well. I have done majority of this ship with that little technique. But as I said, this rear section here is all my build. My building on this vessel. This whole rear section. And you see where my cursor is right here. Right in the central point. This whole back section that leads off the top section from there, all of this back section there, I used the partial copy and paste to copy it onto this side. Whereas with mirror mode, I struggled with that so hard, mirror mode. But when it comes down to partial copy and paste and make into whatever you need, this now opens up another avenue. I don't know what it is about mirror mode that I absolutely hate and detest about it. But this way, if I go into my number 5 bar and we go into the G menu, we have my, without looking at it, number 1, one of the engines. Number 2, another one of the engines, and they go on either side. This was a strut I built myself. This I took off the red ship, and because it looked pretty cool. But as you can see underneath, I had to build up the underside with a whole load of decorating blocks so that it actually sat on the top. That was the way I figured that one out. And this, if I can bring this in, and this little decoration block here, it does need a little update. I kind of made myself, because this is the way it's supposed to look, like this. So if I do that, so I don't delete anything, of which I can undo, this is the final version. Oh yeah, see, I need to update that blueprint so it's not actually looking like it's missing a corner. The partial copy and paste I'm absolutely adoring. It's one of the best things that have ever happened to space engineers ever. Now, mirror mode would help if I could understand it more. Now, that is my deficit. I don't know what it is about the partial copy and pasting that is resonating with me, but the mirror mode just is not working. I don't know why it's working. I just could never get on with it. I tried it, and for some reason it started going outward. It wouldn't go the direction I wanted it to. Then it's set up with 4s, and then it was going in opposite directions, and I wanted to go inward, not outward, and it was just annoying the hell out of me. But this partial copy seems to be the alternate route that actually helps. And for all internal purposes, what I've built at the back so far, which isn't exactly at a point where it's ready to go yet. This is pretty much what you see in the red ship at the front section. But this, I turn my light on here. I have built all of this connection points, and if I go like that, hang on, this side works. I've got to modify that side, so that's fine. That's fine. I just need to crouch. Okay, maybe not. But that's fine. That's fine. We just have to, as the game saves at that point. It's fine. Right. So I made a slight boo-boo there. I need to fix that. But other than that, the doorways work. And I thought it'd be nice to have kind of like a little bit of glass just over the top of the doorway. Leave the doorway the way it was, and then we just start modifying a little bit inside of these rooms to make them less bland. As you can see, there's no doorway there. So if I go over this way, see, this way's got a door because I haven't sorted it out this side yet. I need to fix that. The other side I have actually closed up with blocks, so as you can see, I need to fix that. I need to figure out what I'm going to be doing as some of the greebling around the outside. You've got to recognize the red ship in parts, but then you've also got to see that it's a completely different ship. This has been basically my attempt to build something large, but taking parts of another vessel and using for my own benefit. That was the whole point of building this way. Because, don't get me wrong, the red ship's nice and everything, but everything's bulky on the rear, streamlined on the front, and I like the look of that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that ship at all. But when you've seen some of my other ships, and I think this way actually makes it a lot more streamlined. She doesn't have any carrier capability yet. I don't know even if she is. She might even just have a mining dock. I don't know yet. Without any cargo access or anything like that, I don't know how to, well, not, I know how to make them, but I don't know whether I'm going to be changing them or making them look as they are. I use my knowledge on the build of the, you know, the aerial landing craft, and I saw the way the red ship was built, and I went, right, I'm going to use that bit, I'm going to use the sensor node section and the engines, and then I'm going to try and rebuild it in a larger version, but using other parts. Now this is going to come in handy when you see a ship out in the open, when they start bringing in random convoys and stuff like that. And if you find a piece that you like, you can then take it off, maybe blueprint it, then rebuild it onto the side where you know it's going to be. Now if they can get this right and make this looking like that, I think this is going to be epic. Salvaging will go to a completely different level. You just had a ship attack you, a large ship, and you think, oh, that item there, that part on that ship looks really, really good. You deactivate your defenses for a little while, you go out there, you try and take over that ship, and then you take off the parts, the bits that you can't salvage, you grind down. You then put the bits that you really like an engine display, onto your ship, and it becomes part of that ship. A bit like the salvaging mechanics in Space Engineers 1 that we've got now with the prototech. Yes, I am going to get to that at some point. I'm trying to think on how I'm going to do that. But I did the back section of this in 2 hours last night. The interior and the exterior section. I think it all flows quite well. This has got to be one of the best attempts to make a build like this I have ever done. Now, I like my Space Engineers 1 builds. I love them. My transport, my cargo transport, I love that one to bits, the Boreas. That is one of my best builds I have ever made. The big transport vessel that carries all habitats, that is the biggest one I've ever made. And I love that thing to bits. But this, building this using basically the copy and paste tool, the partial copy, this became so much easier to make. I mean, I can see some people, you can upload these blueprints to the workshop once it finally comes out, and what I can see is the potential for others just to take parts of your build, incorporate it into theirs, or make a brand new build, and you can make other things with those builds. And I can see that being a really, really good thing if they could just make it so that partial copy becomes a viable alternative to mirror mode. I mean, it works beautifully in this, and to be honest, I've had no dropouts or anything. I enjoyed making this vessel to what it is. There's a few more things I've got to do to her, but I'm trying to think of what the name can be. I mean, judging by the way I've built it, I mean, maybe the Osprey? Osprey class, maybe? I mean, I don't know where I'm going to put any weaponry once we get weaponry properly built into this. I mean, we can make our own handmade weaponry. But yeah, I've enjoyed making this ship. This one was a lot more easier to make than the Behemoth. That's the name I gave it. The Behemoth and the Boreas. Oh, outside the Predator as well. I struggled building them. But this, I have made this so much easier. They have made this so much easier. Large ship building is not difficult anymore. You can make so much. Oh, there is something I do actually want to show you. Now I put this engine down here. You remember those cover details that I've got? I put them down there to try and cover up the engine that I thought would be a really good position for that forward thrusting engine, so that you can go backwards. Now the thing is, she's not ready for proper flight yet because I don't think there's a gyro in there. Once I get her ready, we will do a series of test flights. Once we get there, I am absolutely happy. This has been something I've been doing in my own little time. My next project is to take the blue ship down there and possibly try and merge it with the red ship parts I've got and see what I can do. That's my next part of my project, and I might actually stream that in a couple of weeks' time, where I try to take apart the blue ship and try and make it into a completely different ship, combining the two ships together. I might even use the rear end of this ship as an added extra bit. See, this is where this is going to come into its own angle. Stations, though, I'm not exactly good at building stations. You saw my museum world, which kind of wasn't the greatest. My favourite station I had in Space Engineers 1 was Asteroid Station Alpha, and that was made out of the crashed red ship, and I liked that one. It was so simple. I mean, the videos you can make with this kind of thing, it's really good. I mean, my ideas, I mean, there is a point in here that could be maybe a landing bay, maybe, but there was a natural landing point just up here, so you could actually have two landing bays for scout vessels or mining vessels. I mean, the building is your oyster. Whatever you design, go at it. I'm just enjoying ripping other ships apart and then putting them all back together in different variants. Yeah, what was happening with the other bit? You see this little bit right about here? It wasn't going on because the angle right down the bottom there was overlapping a flat surface. So I had to go and fill up said surface just there. And then it snapped in place. Yeah, I just thought I'd do it. Alright, maybe 20 minutes of me rambling about this copy and pasting and this vessel, which as I say, I absolutely adore. It's one of my favourites currently. I can't wait until we can actively blueprint into the servers once they're up and running, because this will be one of my first ones I actually actively show off. And once they give us the ability to transfer Space Engineers 1 ships into Space Engineers 2, I will do that, and then we'll start ourselves a museum world, a proper museum world, built across 5 asteroids, and it will house all of my ships. And then I might, and I say might, transfer that onto the workshop. I say might, I'm not going to guarantee a damn thing right now. It's an idea floating around my head because I'm I like to keep my ships with me. But maybe, just maybe, you might be getting to fly around my museum world at some point in the near future. But I'm not going to guarantee a thing. I'm still in early days yet. But I digress. I do hope You all have a wonderful day. And then for the end, I will say Tudi Pipski. Have a safe and farewell travels. Yeah. Wherever you may be in the universe. Bye bye.